we are going to be covering interviews and what to do during the interviews. So you want to be proud. If you're new to the channel, my name is Frances. I am your camp leader for this course. I've been in production for almost 11 years, and I created So You Want to Be Proud as a resource for the production department in film, VFX, and animation. And this video here is part of a 7-day series, Land the Job, where we cover resumes, cover letters, interviews, and a lot more. Everything that is part of the job search process for the production department. For today's agenda, we are going to be covering interviews and what to do during the interview. So I've separated this into 2 videos. Last video is covering what to do before and after an interview. So today covering what to do during the interview. You will see me look this way, and that's because I've got the course materials, I've got the course outline in front of me so that I don't miss anything as we go through. You can also follow along. The course materials are free to access. You can click on the link in the video description. It will take you to the downloadable content that are also free, the course page itself, and also a link to our community. So if you have any questions about the course, or you have any questions in your own job search journey, or you just want to connect with production people, go join us at the Prod Chat. Stay at the end of the video because I will be covering some campfire stories about interviews. Let's jump in. Today's goal is to learn how to deliver a strong interview for production roles. The chapters for today's lesson is 1. Starting strong. 2. Mapping out a typical interview. 3. Common mistakes in interviews. 4. Always ask questions. So our first chapter is starting strong. The interview starts way before the formal questions begin. Here's what I mean. The interview starts early. Number 1, first impression happens before you introduce yourself. People take note of your demeanor, your body language, your enthusiasm, your punctuality, whether it's in person or via call. That's also important because it anchors how other people will perceive you for the rest of the interaction. You also never know who you might end up working with in the future. How would you like them to remember you when you do meet again? Number 2 of why interview starts early is people notice your online presence. So I'm talking about how you've been communicating thus far, from what your email is, how your LinkedIn profile looks, is it updated, to the tone and response time of your emails back and forth with the organizer making this interview happen. All of those influence how they perceive you in terms of reliability or just your communication style. This is also a reason why ghosting someone is a no-no. That's not an impression that you want them to hold on to next time that they see you. Number 3 is small talk as a soft skill challenge. So show them that you got this. As production, we facilitate meetings on the daily, and small talk while we wait for everyone to join the call is a daily recurrence. So the casual chats before the formal interview questions are not just fillers. They're a way to gauge your communication skills, personality, and how you fit in with the current team. Number 4 is pre-screen interviews are not to be taken lightly. So even if it's just over the phone, the early part of the process may feel informal, but it's definitely part of your evaluation. Even if it's only a 5-minute call, so you don't even see their face, be enthusiastic, professional, and most of all, know the responsibilities of the job that you're applying for. Maybe a bit of the studio too. All of that is in the job description, so seriously, just read it. And lastly, your reputation can precede you. As I mentioned in my earlier video about networking, the industry is small, so word travels fast and reputation matters. So you don't know who knows whom, and for all you know, the people in the room that you're meeting for the first time already know a little bit about you because someone used to work with you before. So hopefully the stories are good stories. Regardless, setting the tone at the start of your interview matters a lot because then you can show them what you want them to know you for or remember you by. Before we move on, I have two very, very important notes to highlight. Neurodiversity and individuality. The tips that I share are meant to build awareness. They're not meant to stress you out or make you feel like you have to perform a certain way. We all show up differently. If some of these don't feel natural to you or they don't come easy to you, they're just not how your brain works best. That doesn't make you any less professional. That doesn't make you any less capable, and it doesn't make you any less worthy. You bring your own strength. Those absolutely matter too. The notes in this chapter are not so much of a checklist of what's right, but more so a reference to navigate with more confidence in a world that sometimes expects us all to act the same way. My hope is that in sharing what is commonly expected, you will be able to better prepare for the future interactions with potential employers. My second very, very important note to share is on cultural variety. So these interview expectations are not universal, and social norms vary across companies, across countries, and cultures. And what's confident or professional in one place might be odd or even rude elsewhere. These notes are based on most interviews in North America, so mostly US and Canada, but that doesn't make them right for everyone or everywhere. They might even feel contradictory to your own cultural norms, and that's okay. The goal of this chapter is only to navigate with awareness. As always, this course is only a guide, not a Bible. The best advice that I've received when it comes to interview is to be yourself. It was really only much later in life that I understood the wisdom in that. And that is that the best place to work at is a place where your authentic self is welcomed and celebrated, and where you feel like you belong. So just keep those two big important notes in mind as we go through these tips. So first impressions count big time. It sets the tone not just for your next chat, but even for the rest of your future interactions. First impressions are very hard to rewire, so take care to be at your best right from the beginning. Next is let's map out a typical interview. So here's what you can expect and what you can do in each phase. The total duration of an interview typically is around 30 to 45 minutes. Don't panic if it's less than that. It's okay. Maybe they got what they needed. Let's start with introduction. That's usually about 5 minutes. That includes small talk, technical setup, checking if everyone can hear each other, and waiting for everyone to join the call. Or what you can do is set the tone. When in doubt, be the first one to greet them. And the next phase of your interview is going to be you introducing yourself. This is more of like a formal introduction. So this is around 2 minutes. You can expect them to say something about, tell us about yourself, walk us through your resume. So my tip for you is have this bit ready before the interview and find a way to mention your connection to the studio. You can share your referral's name if you have one, or what about the studio you really like, or both. The next part of your interview is going to be the formal questions. This will go on for about 10 to 15 minutes. You can expect questions about your experience, your resume, your past roles. You can expect questions that build on your answers for context or details. So if you said something that you did before, they might go on top of that. It's like, oh, tell us more. You can expect situational questions like, tell me a time when. You can expect questions about tool familiarity like ShotGrid or Google Sheets. And you can expect questions about the pipeline knowledge or past departments that you have coordinated before. By the way, if you want a full list of questions that you can expect for each role, day 6 has a full list of those questions. So if you want to access that, click on the link below. What can you expect during the formal question phase of your interview? My tips for you are share highlights. So know your resume enough that you're able to expand on or briefly summarize your full career history as needed. Give specific details with your answers. So not just fluff. Share the team size, the episode or shot count, the length of time, departments, etc. To review the job description. So prepare go-to stories that reflect skills from the job listing and echo them as you share your stories. For about 5 to 10 minutes, they will always ask, do you have any questions? And the answer is always yes. yes, you have questions. Even if they answered your questions along the way, this is why you should have a few prepared questions ahead of time. And later on in this video, we'll cover why this is important. But yeah, ask your questions or ask to clarify something that they said earlier. Another pro tip that I have for you during the interview is to write down the names of the people who are in your interview, because sometimes the people who are on the invite are not the people who are in your call. Production is very busy. Sometimes they will invite some other producer, some other production manager because the original person is not able to make it. So you're nervous? That's totally normal. It's okay. But if you are nervous and you're worried that you're going to blank out, I do have some tips for you. Remember that you're already qualified for the job. They read your resume and obviously they liked what they saw and they invited you for an interview to know more about you. Now you just have to say your skills and experience back to them. So if you're having imposter syndrome, you already qualify. If you didn't, they wouldn't invite you for an interview. So hopefully that helps. Number 2, keep a copy of your resume. So it's very handy when you blank out. You could also have your LinkedIn profile if that's easier to read. But at least if you do blank out, you can go there and see, okay, this is who I am. Number 3, take 6 deep breaths before you join the meeting. Won't go over the science there because there are better videos that will cover why 6 deep breaths. So I'm just here to tell you 6 deep breaths work. Number 4, practice well before the interview so that your answers come more naturally to you and it's easier to repeat or use in an answer in case you accidentally lose your train of thought. So the trouble with memorizing a script is that when you happen to say the wrong word or you said it in the wrong order, you panic, you get flustered, and then you forget what you wanted to say altogether. The more you practice your answers, the more natural that answer becomes, and you can jumble your words and still be able to convey what you wanted to say. Number 5, pause, breathe, and take a sip of water. I will do it now because my voice is disappearing. So take a sip of water. I do this in meetings too. That short second that you take to take a sip of water does wonders in resetting and clearing your mind so that when you do respond, you're able to formulate a coherent answer to the question that they just asked. Number 6, you can say, let me take a moment and gather my thoughts. That is totally fine. Like if you need time to breathe and to collect your thoughts, that's fine. Say it. It's actually expected. We want you to be thoughtful when you respond to our questions. Don't just bluff your way for the sake of not having silence in the room. You're just wasting everyone's time that way. Number 7 is you can repeat the question back to them. 1, to clarify that you understand the question, or 2, to buy yourself time. So I've definitely done this before where I ask, could you repeat the question? And that's because I'm trying to buy myself time and organize my thoughts. Number 8, remember that you're interviewing them too. For some people, reframing it this way might help, where you're both assessing each other. If this is a good match, if this is a good relationship between the studio and you, if the project and you, the team and you, it helps lessen the pressure that you're not the only one being watched, so to speak. And my last tip for if you're nervous or might blank out is there is a follow-up email that you can add anything you forget. When the interview ends and there is something that you're really kicking yourself for not saying, tag it in your email, in your thank you email. That's a chance for you to also share anything you might not have expressed clearly or at all, and a chance for you to ask questions that you didn't get to ask. So at the end of it all, no matter what happens, there is a thank you letter that you can still wrap things up with. But I do want to also highlight, don't forget to show your personality in the interview. Even if they don't smile. I've definitely sat in an interview where the producer just had a straight face. And then I ended up getting hired and working with them, and they're totally not like that. So I don't know if it was just for show, they had a bad day. I don't know. But it's okay if they don't smile. Show up at your best. That's what matters. Okay, stay with me here. We're almost to the end. Common mistakes in an interview. So these are things to avoid during an interview. So interview no-nos. We'll go fast. 1. Joining the meeting late without any notice, not researching the company, not researching the role or reading the job description, not answering with skills or experience related to the job, not answering with your skills, experiences related to the job, not answering with stories or specific examples. Don't just say what they want to hear. Back it up with your experience. Buzzwords have no weight without substance. So this is why in your little card in my previous video, I recommend having go-to stories that you can bring up. Not knowing anything about the VFX or animation pipeline. So in this day and age, there is no reason for you to say that I have no idea what VFX or animation is. Because even if you have no experience, there are tons of free resources out there on YouTube, and some videos even have their own pages going over the basic overview of each department. So research ahead of time so that you're not answering with an answer that you don't know anything about VFX and animation because you don't have an experience. That's not a good answer. Another common mistake is not being mindful of the time and rambling and going off topic. Like I said in a previous video, watching their time is respecting their time. Another no-no is speaking poorly about past employers. Like I said, this is a reflection of your character and a bad one. So never do this ever. Next is not preparing for the interview questions. It really shows when you didn't prepare for it. Do yourself a favor, read the questions that I have on the previous chapter and practice that out loud. Another mistake is not asking questions at the end. We're going to cover that very shortly now on why you should always ask questions, so stay with me. So lastly, not being your own timekeeper. So not acknowledging that if the interview is feeling like it may go over time, you're just letting it go past it. So if when in doubt, be that person to acknowledge, hey, I noticed that we're getting close to time. Is everyone okay to stay on the call? That speaks volumes on what you're going to be like as a production person in the studio. Okay, frequently asked questions on interviews. This one is strictly on questions during the interview. What if I don't know the answer to a question? Be honest. If the question is unclear, let them know. They're happy to elaborate or rephrase it if you are not understanding it fully. If it's because you don't have enough experience to answer that question, what you can do is say that you don't have enough experience, but if you did, this is how you would answer that situation. You can answer it in that way. Can I take notes? Absolutely. We're in production. We take notes like we breathe. A producer I used to work with actually mentioned that it's a bonus point if you do this. So do let them know if you are taking notes, especially if it's virtual and they can't see what you're doing or where you're looking. Can I ask about salary or benefits? Wait until they bring it up or when you have an offer. This way, your questions regarding the topic are an informed one. It's possible that they may ask during the interview your salary expectations, so come prepared with research on typical rates for that role. You can look at Glassdoor for salary range for that role, or you can compare other job listings. Like I mentioned in my other video about smarter job search, in Canada, publicly posted job postings in BC, PEI, and Ontario, it is required by law for employers to provide a salary range for that role. So that is a very good reference for you on what to expect for those job positions, even if it's from a different studio. How long should my answers be? Aim for 1 to 2 minutes. Make sure that your answer is relevant and that you've answered the question. If you must give context, keep it short and get straight to the point. Make sure, again, that you're answering the question. And if you're not sure, you can ask them, did I answer your question? I'm running late. What should I do? Let the organizer know right away. If you have their number, that might be more effective than an email due to the urgency. Let them know how long you're going to be late and ask them if it's okay to start X minutes late, or you can share your next availability if you have to reschedule. Can I reschedule? Yes, the sooner you let them know, the better. What if I make a mistake? If you make a mistake, own it. Let them know that you want to try again. It's okay. Interviews are high-stress situations, and we understand that nerves get the best of us sometimes. It's better to take a quick pause, breathe, and try again with a cleaner slate than to try to patch things up on an already wrong answer. If you do this, if you patch things up on an already wrong answer, you just end up snowballing into a messier or unclear response, which will hurt your chances more than just restarting again. Remember that production's biggest skills are in communication. You can display this by taking steps that you need to ensure that you are passing on the information as clear as possible. Even if it went well, even if it didn't go well, always thank people for their time. Production is one of the busiest departments you will ever meet, so for them to take this time out of their busy day is a gift to you. So be thankful regardless of how the interview went. Okay, last bit of this video is always ask questions. So start the interview strong and leave with a lasting impression. You can do this through asking questions. Here's why it matters. One, it shows genuine interest in the role and the studio. Number two, it shows preparedness that you have an idea of what the job is. Number three, for a production role, it shows if you're one likely to be inquisitive and curious. So that's something that goes a long way on the job if hired. The best production people I've worked with are problem solvers. And to be a problem solver, you have to be curious. And to be curious, you have to be asking questions. So show them that. Another reason why asking question matters is that it's an opportunity for you to learn more about the role, about the pipeline, and about the studio, and about the expectations to succeed in this role or similar roles, which are not always apparent from the job description alone. So use this as a research for you as well. Another reason why it matters is that it's a chance to gauge if this is a right fit for you, because maybe it's not. Asking questions is an opportunity for you to verbally highlight what you want them to take notice of in regards to your resume, your experience, in case you feel you didn't get to do this enough, especially if you think you messed up answering an earlier question. And another reason to ask questions is it's a chance for you to let your personality shine outside the formality of a Q&A. And lastly, it leaves a stronger impression because how your interview ends is something that they would remember. Okay, so what type of questions should you ask? If you go to the course page, I've got a list here broken up in 4 different types. You don't have to ask all of these questions. Don't ask all of these questions. Pick which ones you would remember or what you're interested in. Type 1, clarifying questions. So these are questions that get further details on anything that was said previously. So you can say, just to make sure I understand correctly. Type 2 is bonus round for you. So not all answers come after a question. Sometimes you create the opportunity to shine and let your skills or experience be known. These questions are designed for you to naturally bring up other relevant skills that you may not have had a chance to speak to about earlier. To be honest, there are bad interviewers out there. They exist too. Maybe that's my next course. I don't know. But if you feel that way and you didn't get a chance to really show off more of the skills and you have time, these are some of the questions you can bring up. So you can say, on your company website, I really resonated with XYZ. How would you say that is reflected on my day-to-day role? And then if they give you an answer, then you can say that really connects with me because in my previous experience I did this and I showed this, blah 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 blah. Skills that you want them to remember you by. Type 3 is interviewing them. So is this environment, is this project, is this team a fit for you? That's a valid question to ask yourself too. We spend so much of our lifespan working and asking if the work we do is a fit for us. This should be a question that we should be asking ourselves more often. Some examples of these questions of you interviewing them: how big is a team? What's the work from home arrangement like? Who does this role report to? What is the onboarding process like? You want to make sure that you're set up for success. And the last type is next step queries. So always ask what the next steps are while you have them face to face. It's hard to wait on an answer through an email because you could be waiting forever. But one tip is before you ask these questions, always thank them for their time, because you might get rushed in the end and you forget, or you're pressured to wrap up. Thank them for their time and then ask them, I'd love to know what the next steps are. Do you have general timeline when candidates will be notified? Things like that. And that's it. You did it. That was the interview. Yay! In terms of additional resources, there is a thing called STAR method for when you're answering interview questions. You can watch that if that's helpful to you. I'm also a big fan of Amy Cuddy, Your Body Language May Shape Who You Are. Emily from A Course in Production also has a video called The Worst Interview Question, so that might be of interest. Your action items. Number 1, write 1 to 2 minute about me. Intro, so going over your experience. So this would be the thing that you would say when they ask you, tell me about yourself. Number 2 in your action items is write 3 go-to stories that show off your skills. Number 3 is write 5 questions to ask at the end of the interview. And number 4, finish the bag of treats. You did it, and I am proud of you. Congratulations. That is it for the 7-day series of Land the Job. I hope you found value in these videos. I hope that was able to bring confidence in your journey. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know how it worked out for you. And join us in the prod chat. Share your stories. Follow us for future videos that might be helpful for you. Thank you again for those of you who reached out and encouraged me to create this course. I am hugging you right now. It was a lot of fun to put together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are able to, please do join me on my closing ceremonies. It is the very last one on this series, so I'll see you there. Bye! I can't let you go without campfire stories, especially this one, interview horror stories. Okay, let's talk about Zoom, because Zoom is not my friend. Always check your meetings before the call starts. So I once had an interview where I got locked out of the Zoom meeting just before the interview was about to start. And that was because I was entering my password incorrectly too many times. That it locked me out. It's okay, I figured it out, but still, the panic though. Another interview, a separate one, Zoom decided that the best time to update the app was 5 minutes before my interview was about to start. Check that out too. Make sure your Zoom is updated before the interview so that you don't end up like me and sweating. The interview has not even started yet. Thank you again for joining us, for watching all the videos, and take care, and I'll see you on the next one, maybe in next year's Prod Summer Camp.